Hello and welcome to Pivotal People. Today we're going to be speaking to Phil Holt. Phil is the Sales Director at Assurestack. Hi Phil, thank you very much for coming and seeing us here at Pivotal People.
You're very welcome.
We really want to find out a little bit about you, but
Okay.
First of all, tell us about what you're doing right now, about Assurestack and what that's doing to support the care homes that we look after and that are out there needing your help. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so I've recently come into Assurestack. I'm going to be sort of heading up the UK sector and ensuring that we bring it to market. And the reason why I'm so keen on this as a project is because I've been in the care sector for a long time. I know how difficult it is, particularly in this, very economic situation that we're currently in, to be able to afford the time, to be able to ensure that things are completed on time, and you're taking people away from care. And Assurestack is all around the auditing and compliance within care homes or providers. And I've seen it many times. I've worked for other software companies that produce care plans, etc., but nobody's yet taken on this task as well as I think Assurestack is doing. And of course, one of the great things I like about it is its ease of use. We all know that in this industry, some people aren't as tech savvy, shall we say, as we would anticipate. And with digitalisation coming so quickly within the industry, which has been needed, some people are a little scared of using systems. So what I really like about Assurestack is it is so simple to use. It's so easy to implement, but it's making such a difference because we know, in care homes that you will go into every day, you will know that the care home manager is the jack of all trades, master of none, and just doesn't have time for all of the paper filling forms, all of the things that they have to keep on top of, and things get missed. And then when a CQC inspector comes in, those end up being quite catastrophic, or can be in some cases. So what I really like about it is it's making the journey for them very, very simplistic, very easy, and saving them a lot of time in completing their audits, tracking where those audits are up to, whether that be care related or maintenance or kitchens. It covers the whole care home or the whole provider in every department. And so it means that by being able to track it, it's allowing the care home manager to be able to see what's going on, ensuring things are completed on time, and making sure those gaps aren't there when CQC do come in. And great thing is that you can do it on a mobile device, so you don't have to be sat at a desk, which is the biggest thing. It's difficult getting that time to sit down and complete something. But if you're walking around the care home and you can do that, or any environment, and you can do that as you are completing your other daily activities, which there's many of, it just makes it so simplistic. And of course, you're able to track the actions that then are, brought up by the audits. And so it just makes it so simplistic and easy to do.
And what I like about it is, one of the things we often find in care homes is this really great suite of paper audits with action plans at the bottom. Which when they're checked, they've done the audit, but the action plans aren't being signed off.
Correct.
What I love about yours is the actions are already put into one place.
Correct.
And saves the hassle of making service improvement plans and making it.
And they can be assigned to an individual or a group of people to ensure that those actions are then followed up. And you can put deadlines on, you can send reminders, and the system will automate that whole process. So rather than the action plan just being sat at the bottom of a piece of paper audit, actually it's got a meaningful position in the system, which is highlighted and ensures that those things are then completed. And that could be completed by numerous different people. It's not just one, it could go from one person to another, depending on what that action plan is. But all the time you are able to track the progress of that and see who's done what, provide evidence, so you can take photographs, videos, tie them into the audit, which is all about gathering the evidence that you need to support when you are finalising those audits, especially if CQC come in. So my feeling is it's going to be a great system, and it's going to make a huge difference to people in the care sector, and it's going to save them so much time to put back into care, which is what they're here for.
Absolutely, thank you for that. That's really interesting. So you're working in care?
Yes.
Okay, so what got you to working in care? Why are you working in care?
Why am I working in care? So I guess it goes back around 10, 12 years. So in my previous life, I used to sell uniforms to the NHS, and imported them and made sure that, everybody had uniforms when they were on shifts and things like that. And then, unfortunately, my father was taken ill with cancer, and it was a terminal diagnosis. And at that time, my mum and my dad lived in their house, which we'd lived in since we were children. And I made the decision to move back home because, we had a 6-month prognosis, and it was never going to end any other way than, the end of his life kind of thing. So when I moved back in, most people out there will understand this, when anybody they love is in care, particularly towards end of life, and bearing in mind 10 years ago, before digitalisation and things like that had come in, we would be visited by 5, 6 different carers every day. Yeah. There was a folder in our kitchen that was that thick. Not only did it have medications in there and emails, but it had the notes, it had what was supposed to happen next, who was supposed to visit next, which quite often was missing. So somebody would turn up on our door and we wouldn't know who it was and what they were there to do, or the care that they were there to provide. And if I hadn't have been at home in that time, having my sort of more logical head on, my mum was expected to administer some medication. Those medications were constantly changing as well as we, got further to end of life. Obviously, apart from, very near to the end. And it just made me think, how can anybody... So we take it from 2 perspectives. My mum in a position of vulnerability and desperation, knowing that she's going to lose her husband of 62 years, and the carers that come in and have to see the previous notes and read what's gone on previously, when handwriting could be very illegible. Things haven't been completed, we were just mentioning that. And so it made me think there must be a better way. And so, unfortunately, my father passed away, and I don't know what you call this, but 2 weeks after he passed away, I got a phone call. Yeah. And it was from a company that worked in the care, provided software, doing care planning, rostering, all of those kind of things. Would I like to go for an interview? And when I researched the company, I was like, if we'd had this in place in those dark times, what a difference it would have made to us as a family and to the people that were providing the care for my father. So I'd like to think that maybe somebody somewhere up there was sending some positive vibes to me, and that's what I've kept with me ever since. And I've seen the work that carers do in all aspects. And let's face it, they are true heroes.
They are.
And, if we can make their life easier and make them be able to provide care or more care, rather than filling in forms, rather than doing other things, then it's a win-win situation for everybody. And ever since then, I've stayed within this industry. I've met some remarkable people. I've met some real people that are genuinely trying to make a difference for the good. And that's the reason why I've stuck with it ever since.
Yeah, what a fabulous story. Yeah. And digital transformation is quite new.
Yeah.
We didn't have it until probably certainly even some of the big providers were not using it 5 or 6 years ago. So it's very new.
It is.
But on the ground, when you're actually working in a care home, the difference it makes to entering live data all the time.
Exactly.
And with Assurestack, with medication, with the care planning systems, you're actually entering things as they happen. Yeah. So you can walk round a care home doing your audits and actually see that toilet seat's broken and put it in straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was very much, it was delay time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because, certainly with care recording and with your parents, with your dad's notes.
Yeah.
It
would be a rushed note as they were walking out the door to go to their next visit.
Who was reading them?
Not many people. I don't think I saw many people go into our kitchen and actually read those notes.
No.
No. But again, and I think that's where we've made great strides in this. In this country. In this sector. And I think people are really starting to get to grips with the idea that digitalisation is the way to go. You know, I've got many examples of visiting care homes in my, you know, before I came to Assurestack, where every carer would say at the end of their shift, they would go and sit in the kitchen or the dining room, and they would then write up their notes. Well, if they've been on an 8-hour or a 10-hour shift,
it's a long time.
How fresh is that data that they're putting into it?
Things are going to be missed.
Correct, and things will always be missed. And you know, that's the beauty of digitalisation. So I'm a huge advocate for it and always will be, having worked in this sector. And you know, I think as we progress more, so we've got AI technology now that's coming into most systems, it's only going to make things easier, better, and give more confidence to carers than they have done previously. Absolutely. Even though that confidence in digitalisation might not be there entirely, if we make it simple, they will be able to use it. And you know, that's
the carers that are coming into the industry now are coming in and learning as they go along. There's still a lot of people in the industry that have been in for years that initially struggle, but a lot of the systems out there are very easy to use, and with the right support and training, everybody can do it.
Exactly.
And I think it is, you know, it's far better for everybody. My mum has carers at home, and now I can pick my phone up and look at the app and see exactly which medication she's taken and what they've done for her.
Exactly.
And I can oversee it. Not just the paperwork that's being done, it's the people that are remote from the person that's been cared for.
Absolutely. So you get to see almost an audit of what's going on in your mum's care, because you can see exactly what's being done and when. And it's a huge difference, you know. So, you know, I just think that the easier we can make it, the better it's going to be for everybody. And the more people we have enhancing that technology, then, you know, the better it will become. And of course, you know, the biggest problem we do have is that money isn't available in this sector. You know, so if we can give time back, that is the equivalent of money to most providers. And, you know, by being able to maybe give somebody 3 more hours to do some care rather than filling in a load of forms or audits, you effectively have got maybe a third of a person back there to work for you per week.
Very true.
And you know, that makes the difference to carers that are really on the, you know, the border of being not able to carry on. And so, you know, that's why it's so important in this sector. And as I say, that's in particular why, you know, I've joined Assurestack, you know, and I feel it's going to make a big difference to those providers that use it, you know, because it's going to give them that time to be able to do more towards the care that they provide, and that's huge.
So the future is rosy.
It is, definitely.
Good. Okay, that's been really interesting, Phil.
Thank you.
And I would just add that if anybody wanted to contact you, can they find you on LinkedIn?
They can indeed, yes. Okay. Phil Holt, or at 𝗯𝗰𝗸@holt@shawstack.co.uk, if I dare say. Okay. But no, they'll find me on LinkedIn. I'm on there. I usually post quite regularly, but a lot of people know me on there. So please, you know, feel free to search me out and connect.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Lovely to talk to you.
And you. Thank you.